What's up everybody, welcome back to DoubleT Gaming. Hope everyone's having a great day today. And on this day, we're going to do a little roundup of the recent news and happenings that have been going on Bronzebeard. But first, if you haven't already, hit that sub button to subscribe to the channel. I do my best to cover everything Classic Plus, as well as anything Blizzard lawsuit related. But anyway, let's get into it. First off, just a quick update on the timeline for Bronzebeard. With the release of Sogoth this past week, we have officially reached the end of the confirmed dates that the timeline has. The next piece of content up is going to be Molten Core with no release date as of yet. But this does lead us directly into a recent survey Ascension pushed out to all players, and you most likely have already filled this out. The questions on the survey were about the Molten Core release date, content release cadence, which is basically the speed or rhythm in which content is launched, separate layers for the PvP styles versus the PvE style, merging Bronzebeard and Malfurion, and the release of the XP potion. Me personally, in regard to MC, I said a November 29th release, but I would be okay with November 22nd as well. As great as ZG is to be the starter raid instead of a catch-up raid, it isn't tier level gear yet, and I'm looking forward to doing a 10 or 15 man Molten Core more than anything. I think December is a little bit too long of a wait for the first main tier raid, and that'll be 2 months post launch basically in December. For release cadence, this one is kind of harder to judge. I don't want it to be released too fast because then we'll get through everything within like 8 months. But then too slow loses a lot of players because, well, I mean, me personally, I have a short attention span on games sometimes. So if there's not too much content to do, I just don't really feel like playing it. So I went with something just right for the release speed. The PvP versus PvE layer, I'm a bit indifferent to, but if anything, I'm leaning more towards separating them, mainly because of resource gathering. If someone is gathering in PvE mode in the middle of a PvP war zone, it's a little bit weird, I'll give you that. If you're in a highly contested PvP area and you just want to gather something, you should be ready for it not to be that easy and make it be highly contested, and not take the easy way out. And some PvP folks want to kill for that ore or herb, or they just find it fun trying to kill somebody that's just gathering. Totally understand. The next question, I want to go ahead and see Malfurion and Bronzebeard merged. I think a lot of people rolled on Malfurion at the beginning under the impression that they would be merged within a week or two, or at least a lot of folks on stream were under that impression the first few days of launch, and that maybe it separated some players and then they were too far gone after they found out it would be more than just a week or two for the merge. Say what you want, but I think the server has gotten a lot more stable, although there's still probably a crash every day or so. But I assume that when the merge does happen, it will be rocky a little bit again. But hopefully they can get that taken care of quickly. And the experience potion, yes, I'm good with this now. Just release it, just do it, or at least just give me one for my own use because I want to level my hunter faster. But anyway, I doubt we will get to see the results of the survey anytime soon, if at all. But Dutch did come out on Discord and talk about the MC release based off of survey results, I think kind of like defending their initial planned Molten Core release date, which would have been this week before they changed things up a long time ago. He said just because they're moving into MC soon, which I'm assuming will probably be within the same month ZG releases, so this November, that it doesn't mean that they're rushing through vanilla content, and in fact they're going to be releasing things very slowly. But getting into MC would get that first tier of content out of the way to get into more custom vanilla content, as well as giving guilds a chance to actually progress, and to expect things to go much slower in releases after MC does drop. So again, with him having to come out and say this based on the results, I'm assuming there were a good amount of votes for a December release, which I don't think the Ascension team was the biggest fan of. So he had to come in and be like, hey, well guys, listen, we're gonna drop it in November anyway, and here's why. But a few days prior to the survey being released, they also posted it on the Conquest of Azeroth Alpha, which is a crazy, 21 class server. Some new dungeons will soon be tested, and they will be released fully on all Ascension realms after that. And they posted some spoiler screenshot of what those loading screens are going to look like. And I'm glad to see some actual custom dungeons coming to Bronzebeard. It's still early, but we definitely need some new content to play through that isn't just the standard vanilla stuff. But I will say for me personally, the instance world boss experience is really fun. And finally, the last piece of major news, well at least I think it's major, is that you can now recover the last 5,000 Worldforged items from the recovery services, whether they be deleted, sold, or disenchanted, and this is up from 500. So as of right now on Bronzebeard, we have 4 world bosses that can be fought in both PvP and instance PvE scenarios, as well as the flex rate Zilgrub with multiple levels of difficulty all on a different lockout. And real quick, if you're still leveling and haven't experienced endgame yet on Bronzebeard, killing any world boss or raid boss rewards a number of raider tokens, and these can be used at a vendor to buy gear of the raid that is out. But to access this vendor, you have to have at least cleared the raid first. So since we have cleared normal ZG, we have access to this vendor who sells normal ZG level loot in exchange for tokens. And I don't think they would reset or change these tokens at all when MC releases, just the fact that you'll have to clear MC at least before you can actually access that gear. So a lot of people are holding on to these tokens until that first true tier unlocks. Looking at class balancing, the only changes we have had as of late that aren't related to bug fixes still look to be that prop paladin PvP nerf, as they were kind of stupid strong in PvP before. And to be fair, they are still pretty strong, reducing some overall PvP combat damage for some abilities, as well as a 10% lower damage for Warlocks Shadow Crash in PvP, and 10% lower damage for Shamans Windlash as well in PvP. But anyway, that's all I have in regard to like a weekly roundup of Bronzebeard news. Let me know in the comments if you like this sort of video, and I can add it into the rotation of just like doing a weekly news coverage of the server, all the changes made, changes coming up, in case you don't want to watch multiple videos a week on it from other users. No offense to them, but I kind of like having it all in one spot for the week, or if you don't check the Discord all that often for what's going on. But anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying Bronzebeard. This past Friday, the guild and I did our first CG run, and that was a lot of fun. Looking forward to doing more. But thank you guys for watching. This is DoubleT Gaming, and I will see you guys in the next video.